We've hit July. We're now halfway through 2026, and I wanted to share some of my favorite films of the year so far. I'm just going to kind of go off the cuff on this one. I got 15 movies here, and they're in alphabetical order, so nothing too wild. Here are some honorable mentions, and let's just get this thing started. First up is 20 Years Later, The Bone Temple. I really love the first 20 Years Later. It was one of my favorite films of last year. And I think Nia DaCosta does a terrific job taking over the director's chair from Danny Boyle. And I think it pays off a lot of ideas that they set up in the first film. And the big payoff in the climax of this movie is still one of my favorite movie moments of the year. It was just so much fun to see. And it was just such a blast. Next up is Carolina Caroline. This is the new film from Adam Carter Raymeyer. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly because he's a really good filmmaker. I've enjoyed the previous films that he's done, and I think he does a great job at taking a very straightforward Bonnie and Clyde concept and just bringing in this sort of earnestness in the filmmaking and with the performances from Samara Weaving and Cal Gallner, and they just really breathe life into these characters and into the story in a way that I just found incredibly invigorating, and I was just hooked very early on in the film, and it just never quite let me go. Next up is Disclosure Day from Steven Spielberg. I think we both, me and Steve, have a very similar fascination with UFOs and those kinds of stories, but he's able to take a lot of those lofty ideas and kind of funnel them through a very humanistic lens in a way that I find to be very moving. And of course, his work as a craftsman is still basically unmatched at this point. So yeah, Disclosure Day, 100% my jam. Next is Exit 8. I talked about this before around the time that it came out. I played the game and I really enjoyed it, but the film takes a lot of the ideas, even the mechanics of the game, and is able to make an even more enriching experience, in my opinion, in the sense that it's able to really explore this story of becoming a parent and the anxieties of fatherhood in a way that I found to be incredibly haunting and moving and just even creepy, of course, as a horror film. But even the filmmaking itself is just really impressive with the incredible use of long takes that they have in the film was really impressive stuff. And it really made a pretty big impression on me. So yeah, Exit 8, if you haven't seen this one yet, I would definitely check it out, especially, if you were big on the whole backrooms thing. Next up is Hokum. This is the new film from Damien McCarthy. I bought into his stock, metaphorically speaking, of course, very early on when he made Caveat in 2020, I think. And I think it is paying off immensely because I love all his movies and I think he's a very fresh voice in horror right now. And I can't wait to see what he does next. I think what he does here with Hokum is tell a very classic sort of ghost story, but he brings a very fresh spin on it, incorporating elements of folklore, specifically Irish folklore, and like a murder mystery element even. And the way he handles Adam Scott's character's journey in the film, I think is very smartly written, very challenging in the sense that he is a guy who is very unlikable, but there's a really interesting journey that his character takes that I just find to be incredibly riveting. Next up is God Is, which is a film that I wish more people saw because it's really, really good. This is the directorial debut of Alicia Harris, who is adapting her own play, and I never would have guessed that this was based off a play because it is very stylish and very cinematic. It is very funny and dark and just unsettling even at times, but really makes a huge impression. So if you haven't seen this one already, I would definitely put it on your watch list. Next up is Jackass Best and Last. I think it should not be a hot take that this is one of the best film franchises of all time. I mean, the very foundation of cinema as a medium basically started off with a bunch of people getting in front of a camera and doing things that got them hurt, or much worse, really. And this series as a whole has just taken that concept and pushed it to the extreme in a way that is very funny, of course, but also incredibly endearing, and surprisingly so. And I think there is an effect that this new one has where I know some people are disappointed by the fact that like at least half of it's like a clip show, but there is an effect that it had on me where I would watch a moment from 20 years ago and then it would cut to something that they're doing in the present day. And it is very moving just kind of seeing how much these guys have grown over the years, not just as like individuals, but also just as friends, and also how little they grew as well. So yeah, I just had a really good time with this one. I think it works as a really good epilogue to the series. And yeah, what a way to go out. Next up is Mile End Kicks from writer-director Chandler Leaback. This is a Canadian coming-of-age movie that is basically all about the messiness of young adulthood, about being a 20-something who just makes a lot of mistakes and does things that they don't quite think through, and having to deal with the consequences of that, and being able to learn to move on from those kind of situations. And it is so honest and so refreshing and very nostalgic even. The film is set in 2011, so there's kind of a 2010s nostalgia thing going on here that I didn't think would be very effective, but turned out to be quite so. And I just really enjoyed this one. It was like a warm blanket of a movie that I just really enjoyed. It made a huge impression on me, and it made me want to check out the director's other works as well. Next up is Mother Mary. This is the new film from David Lowery, and if you're familiar with David Lowery's work, then you know how very off the beaten path he can get sometimes with his movies, and this one is no different, but I think he's able to tell this story of this relationship and the history of these two women played by Michaela Cole and Anne Hathaway, who are both amazing in the film, and they managed to ground the film in a way that I think is very effective, and it does a good job at kind of keeping you steady, even when the film decides to get very weird, which it does get very weird. And I can see where it may lose some people, but just for me, I think it just got more interesting and more evocative and more compelling as it got along. And yeah, it made such a huge impression when I saw it. So if you haven't seen this one and you're into very weird stuff, then Mother Mary, check it out. Next up is Power Ballad, the new film from John Carney, who gave us Once, Begin Again, Sing Street, Flora and Son, all movies that are basically exploring the human condition, but filtered through characters who are musicians or are in some way affiliated with music, which is a very interesting niche that he carved out for himself. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess, especially if the results are as good as this, because I think this is a wonderful story about, regrets and recognition and finding validation among people and achieving your dreams. And I think Paul Rudd does an amazing job in this film. I think he's fantastic. And it's a really compelling sort of character study for him as this guy who never quite made it big as an artist and basically has that opportunity ripped away from him when a song that he wrote gets ripped off by a big pop star. And it is just really effective. It's not like a super twisty, turny movie. It does go into places that you might guess and see coming, but the effectiveness of it comes from the performances and the earnestness of the writing and the directing. And it is one that I was really moved by, and I think a lot of people would like this if they saw it, because I don't think a lot of people did see it, but it is one that I would definitely recommend. Next up is Project Hail Mary. I think Phil Lord and Chris Miller are just incapable of making a bad movie at this point. It is not only their most ambitious, but it's a very different genre from what you're used to seeing from them, and it is just a wonderful time. I'm not usually a big Hope Core guy, but this I found to be very effective. It is very funny. I think it is beautifully made. I think Rocky is just easily like one of the best extraterrestrial characters ever put to film, and it is so incredibly endearing. And I think Ryan Gosling, I think, carries the film so effortlessly. It is such a movie star performance, and I mean, a lot of people have seen this movie already, so I don't have to say a lot, but obviously this movie is just a wonderful time. I enjoyed it immensely, as did many people. So Project Hail Mary, if you haven't seen it already, then get to that. Next up is Send Help, the new film from Sam Raimi, who is one of my favorite filmmakers, and this was one of the most fun times I've had in a movie this year. It is so gross and icky and funny, and Rachel McAdams' commitment to this character is just so much fun to watch. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I talked about this movie already, so not a whole lot I need to add to this, but yeah, Send Help, such a blast of a movie. I enjoyed it immensely. Next up is The Death of Robin Hood. This is the new film from Michael Sarnowski, who at this point is now 3 for 3 with Pig, A Quiet Place Day 1, and now The Death of Robin Hood. And I guess he just likes making movies that just bum you out for an entire week. But you know what? If they're as good as this, then you know what? Keep bumming me out, because these are really good. I think this film is so fascinating and so unexpected, because you kind of go into this thinking, okay, is this going to be just like another Logan situation? But it is so anti-commercial. It is such a hard movie to really recommend, because it's not the kind of film that gives you what you want or even what you think you want. It is really such a confrontational film, a film that confronts the violence of a character in a way that is so revealing and so vulnerable and so intimate. And I don't know if this got a cinema score or if it did what it was, but if it got an F, it wouldn't surprise me, because it is so against anything that you would want for like a mass audience. And I really respect that. I really respect that so much. And of course, Hugh Jackman, so good in the movie. He is so good. This is probably one of my favorite Hugh Jackman performances as well. But yeah, The Death of Robin Hood. If you want to just, not feel very good for a while, then check it out. All right, we got 2 movies left, and this next one is The Furious, the Hong Kong action film from Kenji Tanigaki, which I've talked about already on here, so not a whole lot else to add, but this is the best action movie of the year, and it's probably going to remain the best action movie of the year, even after the year's over, but if I get proven wrong, that would be amazing. It is such an incredible feat of action filmmaking, from stunts to choreography to cinematography to the editing. It is just so fun to watch, but it's just also, even as brutal as it got, it is just such a wow, how did they do this kind of experience, which is not something that you get a lot nowadays. And whenever it does happen, it is just such a joy. So, The Furious, get to that if you have not already. And to close off this list of my favorite films of 2026 so far, I'm going to another film that is maybe not starring, but definitely co-starring Hugh Jackman, and that is The Sheep Detectives. One of my favorite things in the past week or so on social media is seeing people posting that they're going to be catching up with The Sheep Detectives now that it's out digitally, and then coming back and being like, wow, I did not expect this to be as emotionally devastating as it was. And yeah, I felt the same way. Granted, I basically cry like every movie I watch, but I did not expect to be just in a lake of tears by the end of that movie when I was watching it in theaters, because it is a shockingly effective movie about death, about dealing with mortality, and coming to terms with the understanding that remembering the people that you love is what keeps them alive, in a sense, at least within you. And it is so touching. And yet the movie is about sheeps who solve a murder, and it is still a very funny movie. It's a very cute movie, but it's one that really sneaks up on you, and I really enjoyed myself. The Sheep Detectives, stealth tearjerker of 2026. So yeah, those are my favorite films of 2026 so far. Feel free to let me know what some of your favorite films are this year, and of course, what are you looking forward to for the rest of the year? I would love to know, and thank you all so much for watching. Take care.